Hmm. Does anyone have a question? I'd like to.
Hi, Stuart. In Rudy's book, Spiritual Cannibalism, he talked about some people get caught up in manifesting. I'm paraphrasing, and he said,
Some people get caught up in what?
manifesting.
No, no.
And he said there are some spirits on earth that like to assist with that. But then the spiritual student stops there because they think the manifesting, they've reached the pinnacle. Um, And I found that interesting that he says there's spirits that assist with that because there's a lot of that now with people pushing manifesting. So I just wondered if you could talk
Well,
about that.
there's not much to talk about other than most of the people that push that kind of thing, they're gifted people who have very strong egos and they use it to promote themselves. They usually use it to make money. They use it to promote themselves, to create some kind of image of who they are and what they are so they can have power over other people. And Rudy's right. I mean, that whole manifestation thing is, I mean, yes, there are spirit guides in the world that help us, but the purpose of those manifestations is to help us grow spiritually, is to become less, to become a child of God, to become nothing in oneself, and allow the energy of those manifestations to really help us do that. A lot of that stuff is done strictly from ego, people promoting themselves. How many people I've met like that in my life? I mean, ultimately, it's just boring. I mean, I remember Christmas sitting in my gallery once. A guy came into the gallery. I'll never forget this. And he wanted to, he knew I had a lot of students all over the world, and they were doing this big, you know, spirit convergence in somewhere in Peru, Machu Picchu, and wanted me to bring all my students there. And I sat and listened to this guy for about a half hour, 40 minutes. I didn't say a word, and it was all about manifesting, you know, peace in the world and this and that. And yeah, it's a good idea, but and I finally said to him after the whole thing was over, I said, let me ask you a question. And he said, yes. He said, what happens the day after? What happens when everybody goes home? I sit every day, I work on myself, I try to nurture people, I try to help people to grow, and I think that this whole thing is insanity. Going to Machu Picchu for a day to be with a bunch of people manifesting and trying to save the planet. I mean, a lot of people would obviously disagree with me, and they think that kind of thing is important. But I've been hearing about it since I'm 6 years old, and the place is crazier than it's ever been. The Earth. The only reason for that is everybody's trying to fix what's out there, not fix inside themselves. And that is the problem. They're trying to manifest peace in the world. There are 8 billion people in the world, and they all have crazy minds. And life is a reflection of the insanity that goes on inside people. So instead of fixing what's out there, people got to fix what's inside. If they fix what's inside, we'd be living in paradise here. Literally, be living in paradise if people would just get their shit together and fix their inner lives. Quiet the chaos, quiet these egotistical things. I mean, and everything promotes that. You have all this social media that promotes that. The crazier you are on social media, the more people you'll get to follow you. It's unbelievable. I remember when I used to do, what is it called? Instagram and Facebook. I stopped doing it. I got, I would sit down and I would spend hours trying to write these really profound little essays that I would give to people. And the ultimate response was 20 people would say, I like. So I once told somebody if I got on top of the Empire State Building and took a pee on New York, I would get more followers on Facebook than writing these profound spiritual things that I write there, you know? I mean, this is how crazy the world is today. And people are manifesting insanity. That's what they're manifesting mostly. So I don't really buy all of that stuff, you know? I mean, I wish it would work. But then there's the day after.
Yeah.
And do people work on themselves the day, or do they go there and they have this convergence and there's a lot of energy, and then they all go home and they're peeing from the Empire State Building, you know? I mean, getting a lot of attention. So the answer is not external manifestation, it's internal, you know, creating a system inside that truly allows one to become a child of God. And that system will create peace in the world. Not all this stuff and marching and that. I mean, it's every time you open the media, there's some bunch of policemen that are killing some African-American person. It's insane, you know? Nobody learns anything because nobody fixes the area in themselves that will allow them to listen to life and learn how to truly grow and get closer to God in their life. So it's all revenge and it's anger and it's this and that. And it goes nowhere. And it's the same thing with spiritual manifestation. Most of it is done for people to promote themselves. Look how great I am. There was one Swami in India who used to manifest jewelry and watches and this and that. I mean, you know, and Rudy would say, you know, I'd rather save one life than run a jewelry store, you know?
That was so perfect, Stuart. Thank you.
You're welcome. You know, I have had so much of this in my life that it just bounces off of me now. People walking around in orange robes and, you know, I mean, all this holier than thou crap. And it's not real. Real is inside. And then, you know, whatever you are, you become a child of God. That's hard work. And the hardest of all works on this planet is transforming yourself, changing inside, fixing the chaos inside a human being, the emotions, the anger, the sexual energy, all of that stuff that creates the local insane asylum has to be fixed. People need to work on themselves and in great depth and never take their spiritual life for granted. Because, you know, look, one day, you know, we're given a certain amount of time on this planet. This time is sacred, it's precious. And we use it for almost anything but building a spiritual life, building a chakra system, building an inner life. So much of it is wasted just being unhappy. People are unhappy. Anyway, does anyone else have a question they would like to ask?
Stuart?
Yes.
Laura? How to protect myself from energies that I'm surrounded with
Laura, you know,
right now?
I can't you have to speak more clearly to me. I know it's English, but Try and speak a
how
little bit.
how to protect myself from energies I am surrounded right now because I am in Switzerland.
Well, yeah, I can answer that question. The people and the energy that surrounds you right now is teaching you what you have to do inside yourself. So don't be angry at them. Don't be upset. Say, okay, this is what I have to work to get free of. It's a very positive energy that's teaching you about yourself. And if you learn from these people, you will say, I got to build a system in myself that is strong enough that this kind of energy doesn't bother me.
I'm not angry. I understand, but I lose my strength. I
Well,
cannot
again,
go.
it's again, Flora, it's teaching you that you got to do. I mean, look, you've been doing this for about a year. It's not a long time. It took me, I don't know, 5, 8 years to get free of what you just described, where all the people that had negative things, it never bothered me anymore. I just didn't care. I knew what I wanted in my life. I knew what I was getting in my life. And it didn't mean a damn what anybody thought about me or said about me.
They don't say anything, but I don't know. I just lose my strength. You know,
Well, Flora, again, I'll repeat it. These people and these situations are reminding you got a lot of growth to do in yourself. You have a lot of work to do on yourself. And you're not alone there. I mean, just about everybody here has the same problem. We all have family. You ever know family to agree with you?
uh, actually, they are much better now, my family.
Well, because you're a little better now.
But
That's
I have
why.
to stay here. Maybe.
Look, Flora, let me explain something to you. My family, I was the black sheep in the family. I was the person they even refused to talk about. I was the nut
Me
in
too.
Europe, following swamis and yogis and gurus, and I was the crazy one. And when I moved back to New York and I built this situation, which was an enormous situation I used to have going on, and my aunt, she said to me, she said, I had a cousin who was very sick with cancer. They gave her maybe 3 weeks, 4 weeks to live. And she said, well, you're into all of this stuff. You think you can do anything for your cousin? So I went to the hospital where she was. And the first question I asked her is, do you want to live? It's the first question I asked her. And she said, yes. I sat and did healing work that I learned from my teacher. 3 weeks later, the cancer went into complete remission and she walked out of the hospital. It's a true story, you know? And I'll never forget that. And she was raving to everybody at Sloan Kettering, where she was, that they should have my cousin come see you because it's amazing what he does. I said, please don't. That's not my life. I'm not going to do that. And then when she got out of the hospital, I said to her, look, can you come? I was living in Texas at the time, and this hospital was in New York. And I said to her, can you come to Texas, spend 6 months? I'll teach you this. I'll teach you this. And you'll have a longer life. I can't go. I have children. I have a husband. I have this. I have that. Blah, 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 blah. And I finally stopped asking her. A year later, she died. And all she had to do was come to Texas and learn this meditation, which saved her life, basically. No, 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 I got this, I got that, I got the other. And I just shook my head. I said, no, sorry. So, you have to understand how important it is to use everything in your life as an opportunity to grow. The work I did on my cousin helped me learn so much about healing. It was extraordinary. And you can't imagine how many people I worked with and most likely saved their lives because of the work I did. I was very young when I did this, you know? So everything has to be used for a reason to grow. not as a reason to defeat yourself. Everything is positive. Everything is your teacher. And we don't have to look at life like it's always negative and this and that. It's teaching us about us, what we need to do to grow. All of your relatives are teaching you that. All of your friends, all of your whatever, you all are teaching me that. So if people are negative, be grateful to them. Don't be angry at them. You attract people because there's something negative in yourself. Like there's something negative in yourself that attracts that energy.
If people are negative to me, I can handle it. I'm used to it. But they don't say anything. But it has been very much
Look,
sickness.
whatever they do, Flora, this is the end of this. Whatever they do to bother you, look at it as something that you have to learn about yourself, however it comes to you. This is something that I have to overcome in myself. You overcome it in yourself, you will be able to never be bothered by these things. Okay, dear.
Okay.
Look, I'm just putting it on the one person who has to do the work, and that's each and every one of us. We can't look out at the world and expect it to change. It's not going to change. We have to do the work to change. We have to get stronger. And how do you do it? Build a system inside that allows the most powerful energy in the universe to come into you and help you to grow and transform yourself.
Thank you.
You're welcome to keep working on yourself.
Yes.
I say this to you every time in class. I remember you a year ago, and I looked at you and I said, "Oh my God, what did I do to deserve this person?" And I look at you today, and like a flower, you're beautiful. So just keep growing, and don't worry about all this. Just use it to grow in your life.
Okay, thank you.
Does anyone else have a question you'd like to ask? Okay, if there are no more questions, God bless you all. Thank you. I mean it. It's extraordinary to do this, to connect with people here on 4 different continents. I mean, that's amazing to me. And I hope more people attend. If you have friends that are interested, but you can tell them. I get people now, they sign up, they're shown the exercise, and I never see them, It's all right. The work isn't right for them. But, then I take their names off the list. I need people that truly want a spiritual life, that want to commit to that, willing to come to at least a couple of classes a week to grow and change inside. And to me, that's wonderful. That is really the kind of commitment that I see in people that makes me very happy. It really does. So God bless you all. God bless you all. Also, another thing, every month I send out my begging bowl. I send out an email, or at least Jennifer does. And I want to thank you. The contributions you make, it helps me do this. I can pay the bills. I don't have landlords breathing down my neck. And this kind of thing can continue and go on. And I'm very grateful for that, So God bless you and thank you for the contributions you make, for being here, and above everything, for simply being part of my life and being my teacher in a very good way. So bless you, and there'll be a class on Tuesday, and I'm looking forward to seeing everybody. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Stuart.
You're welcome.
Thank you.